Welcome back to the Marine Corps Movie Minute, where we discuss the movies of the Marine Corps 1 minute at a time. Today we are discussing the Clint Eastwood classic Heartbreak Ridge. We've reached minute 20, and minute 20 begins with a brief stare down between Sergeant Major Chuzu and Tom Highway. The minute ends with Clint Eastwood telling his new CO, "He's felt a little heat, sir." So we pick up from. Oh, you know what? I didn't introduce us again.
No, that's fine.
Yeah,
I
if
I think by now they probably know us.
I would hope so. Well, then I'm not going to introduce us. The hell
Nah,
with it.
fuck it. Let's roll. And
Let's
if you
get.
don't know, well, then you weren't paying attention either.
Well, I was just so excited to get into the minute, and with those guys talking so much crap last minute. So
Yeah, yeah.
it just starts off with them staring each other's down after the little back and forth with the smack talking. What is it? 2 3 seconds, and Sergeant Major Chuzu's like, "God damn, good to see you."
You did it. You got it.
Back where you belong.
All right. Well, you pulled it off this time. And so everybody that didn't know, we were just discussing before we started recording, and he did it, and it was perfect. It was great, and I just made fun that he wasn't going to be able to get the impression right. Good job, bravo.
Appreciate that.
I like sharing with our listeners.
Right? I thought for sure I'd be doing something different, but,
Eh,
I'm like it reminds I'm like the mimic. There was a Saturday Night Live skit in one of the first Alec Baldwin hosting appearances, and he was the mimic, and it was like a 19, like, 70s or 60 it was like a 60s or 70s, like, TV show, and it was like he had his intro, he was the mimic, and he was like a spy who would go around and use his mimic abilities to help people. And he and he was like, "Oh, that person you talked onto a phone, did it sound something like this? Hello! Oh," and he would like, whatever he was mimicking sounded nothing like anybody that he was doing, but everybody was like, "Well, that was who I talked to. Wow, I had no idea." And he's like, "Me all the time." He was a terrible mimic. So that's me.
yeah.
So Clint Eastwood's back where he belongs. He's with Sergeant Major Chuzu is not angry to see him. He's happy to see him.
Yeah, very much.
In fact, he's so happy he gives him a hug.
Yeah. Well,
He kinda does the manly hug though, where he hits him on the arm and he pulls him in,
yeah.
but, as he says, "Back where you belong," as I gonna go to the well with that one too many times.
Yeah.
And, of course, Tom Highway he's a man's man, and he's like, "Hey, hey, take it easy, somebody's gonna think I'm spoken for."
Yeah, and as if on cue, dickhead CEO pops in.
Okay, so it's funny because I think we talked about before about Clint Eastwood presenting himself as like a real man's man, and he's a hard ass basically. But
Yeah.
Sergeant Major Chuzu's his own age. Clearly, they go way back, and yet he has no problem, hugging his friend and being happy to see him. Clint Eastwood's like, "Hey, hey, buddy, hold up, buddy,
Yeah.
easy. I'm happy to see you, but let's not go too crazy."
Yeah.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say it's a generational thing, but I think it's just a Tom Highway thing.
Yeah, I think he's just the Marine's Marine.
Yeah, it's just his way. So, of course, right when they hug each other, or it's a one-way hug, really, it's very
Yeah.
awkward.
Yeah.
Of course, because Tom Highway still got has a coffee cup in his hand, so he's
Yeah.
not like he can really kind of do much back either. And they couldn't shake hands. Well, I guess they could have shook hands, but that's not what
Yeah.
Chuzu wanted to do.
Nah.
But right there, we see another Marine standing in the doorway, and he doesn't look too happy.
No. No, this is dickhead CEO.
Right. So it's we find out it's Major Powers. He's the CEO of.
Recon.
Yeah, and Major Powers is played by Everett McGill.
Yep.
I've seen him in a few things, but he's been in a lot of things I didn't realize that he's been in things that I've seen that I didn't realize he was in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he was in Quest for Fire. I've seen that. I couldn't tell you he was in that.
I've seen that movie too, man. I can barely tell you about that movie, but I think I've seen it. Yeah.
The only thing I remember about it is that Ron Perlman's in it, and they don't talk much in the whole. I don't think they talk at all in the movie.
That's a caveman movie, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So Ron Perlman perfectly cast. He still looks like a caveman.
No kidding. Yeah, but I don't recall Everett McGill being in it.
Huh.
He was in Dune?
Yes, that's right. He was one of the Fremen. He was like the main Fremen.
Really? The and see, that's the thing. I've seen Dune, and it's one of those movies that was on a lot, like, on
Mm.
HBO, and I've seen it from here and there, but I, um, I don't like that movie.
You know what though? It's kind of a hard movie to like, man, because like it's cool. It's got some cool visuals, but man, it's a hard one. It's a hard one. It's like the first Blade Runner. Like the Blade Runner is it's awesome in bits and pieces. Like it's visually it's really impressive, but it's just a lot to try and take in. It's like, man, I feel like I'm doing homework.
Yeah, I don't it's just some of it's just kinda
It's
weird.
just
It's
like
so
this is a movie, man. I'm supposed to enjoy it.
right, and it's weird at times, and I don't
Yeah.
like some of the aesthetics to it, and it's I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I
People
mean,
love it,
yeah. So some people really like the books and stuff, from the Dune books. I just, and at some point in time, I'll probably, you know, read them. But yeah, that's right. As soon as you said Dune, exactly right. I remember him now. He had a beard and bright blue eyes, and yeah, he was like one of the sand people.
you mean a native Tatooiner?
Yeah, no, yeah,
Not
yeah,
that kind, not that kind.
yeah,
Wrong movie. Um, he was in License to Kill, one of the James Bond movies,
yeah. Was he?
and yeah, I forget, like, it's one of those things now where I've seen that movie so many times, but I think I've gone back and I've pointed him out before. I think he's one of the, see, now I'm completely blanking, so I'm probably wrong, but
Hmm.
I think he was one of the henchmen for the bad guy,
Okay.
the Bond villain, but I do remember not knowing he was in it, and then seeing that finding out he was in it, and one of my, many rewatches of the Bond franchise. I think I did see him.
Mm.
Same way with like Dolph Lundgren is in A View to a Kill.
Is he?
Yeah, I didn't know that at the time, but he was was it Grace Jones was the Bond girl,
Yeah,
henchwoman.
yeah. One of them. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was dating her at the time, I think. So he was
Oh
on
wow.
set. Yeah, he was on set, and he's such a big imposing guy that we're like, hey, you're now one of the security guards for, Christopher Walken,
Oh wow.
or something like that. I remember he's at one of the times that they're at the horse race, he's sitting
Okay.
he pulls a gun out, and you see him prominently a few times, but he doesn't speak because I don't think he spoke much English back then.
No.
But Evan McGill was in he was in People Under the Stairs, he was in Silver Bullet, like, these are all movies I've seen at one point, and I have no memory of him being in them.
Yeah. Not a memorable performance, huh?
No. Well, it's just I don't know, it's just not really paying attention because to me, he's always Major Powers.
Yeah. Yeah. Same way that this guy here is always going to be Sergeant Major Chuzu.
Right. Well, and I think I've seen Everett McGill, like, I think he was in an episode of Jag or something like that. I've seen him pop up in other things, and I'm always like, "Hey, it's Major Powers." He's always
Yeah.
Major Powers. But even when he was in Under Siege 2, I'm like, "Hey, it's Major Powers."
Probably playing at Major Powers.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Major Powers after he got kicked out of the Marine Corps. I don't know if he got kicked out, but after he left the Marine Corps, he went and became the bad guy in Under Siege 2. He's pretty awesome in that. Like, that's not a great movie. Under Siege 1 is really good. Under Siege 2 is what is it? Dark Territory or whatever it's called. It's not that
Yeah.
great. But he's good in that because he's the villain. And there's that one scene I love where Steven Seagal's Steven Seagal's niece sprays him with the pepper spray, and it has no effect on him. He takes it from her and he sprays it like he's using it for mouthwash. That's the only good part of the movie.
Yeah, I gotta be honest with you. I don't think I ever saw the second one. I think I barely saw the first one.
Oh, first one's great.
I remember bits and pieces. He's a cook, but he was a Navy SEAL, and Playboy centerfold or something gets lost on the boat, and
That is correct. She gets they give her something for seasickness, I think,
yeah,
and then she was in the cake that she fell asleep in the cake she was supposed
yeah,
to pop. So when the boat gets taken over, she pops up and starts, like, dancing like she's supposed to do for the party that she was hired for, and I think it was for, like, Gary Busey's, party or whatever, and then she ends up helping Steven Seagal throughout the whole thing. That movie's funny because well, that's not funny. My dad took
It's not funny again.
not
Uh,
funny. I just everything's funny to me. I don't even know if my story I'm about to tell is funny, but I'm just telling it.
oh, it is now.
I
Please
was,
continue.
I was pretty young when that movie Under Siege 1 came out. My dad used to take me to, a lot of the dollar theaters to see these movies,
Uh,
and so we went to the dollar theater, and a lot of the dollar theaters and I'm, from Rochester, they were kinda in the city of Rochester, so my dad used to take me to some across town. They were the very theaters he used to go to as a kid, but now they were the second run dollar theater.
right.
So, it's during the summer, got time off. My dad he's like, "Let's go see Under Siege." We go see that stuff, and we're sitting there watching a movie, and the movie just begins, and we hear this guy laughing, this like obnoxious guy laughing in the background or just making noise, and we look back, it's my uncle, not the uncle I talked about in our minute zero episode, but a different uncle. And so he saw that we were there, and he came up and sat directly behind us, and he was, he's making commentary throughout the whole movie. So to me, it was one of the greatest movies because he was hilarious.
Meanwhile, everybody else wants to burn the theater down.
I think honestly, I think we were about the only ones in the theater. There's
Oh,
like four of us.
that's awesome.
So, so back to the minute, yeah, we got Major Powers standing in. Oh, I actually wanted to say one more thing about Everett McGill because when I was trying to look up the stuff he's done, besides Under Siege 2, because that's the only thing I ever remember. Did I say he was in Twin Peaks?
No, you did not.
Speaking of another thing I don't like,
I've never seen Twin Peaks. I know some people really liked it, but I've never.
people who like that love that show, and they were very excited about it coming back on Showtime and all that. I think David Lynch did Dune, correct? And so David Lynch did Twin Peaks, so that's
Yeah,
probably why how he got on Twin Peaks because of Dune. You know,
yeah, and yeah, well, it makes sense too because the main, I guess, the cop.
yeah, he was in Dune as well.
Yeah,
He's the FBI agent or whatever. Severin McGill always plays like a bad guy, right? Like he's always like, or whatever. I don't know what he played on Twin Peaks because again, I didn't watch that and I don't like it. I thought what was funny about him is that he was a leader of a dance band in like Kansas or something like that, or
what?
Kansas City, yeah. And then he became a stage actor and he had like 1,300 Broadway performances before he like got into film and all that. And I'm like, this guy always plays a hard ass and like a tough guy, and he's always whatever. And then he's like a Broadway performer and
Oh
like a
wow,
musician. Yeah. So I didn't know that about him. Major Powers is standing in the doorway. Those guys kind of, kind of do a 10 hut, morning, sir. Sergeant Major Chusu says, morning, sir. He asks him for coffee. Yeah. He's like, do you want coffee? Negative.
yeah, giving giving away chooses coffee again.
Yeah. Well, the thing too is like he's such a hard ass, and they even mentioned his assholes, sewn so tight that he has to open his mouth to shit
Yeah.
or shit or fart, one of the two. And yeah, he shits out of his mouth because his asshole's sewn so tight, and and the thing is, you could see that because like he offered him coffee,
Yeah,
and instead of just saying, "No, thank you, Sergeant Major," or "I'm good," I'm good to go,"
yeah,
that's a common Marine saying, "I'm good to go,
yeah,
Sergeant Major." He says negative,
yeah,
very formal, very whatever. So, but then he walks across the hall back to his office and then calls in, "Sergeant Major, bring in Gunnery Sergeant Highway, please." I don't even say please, but it's just like
like he's there for office hours or something.
yeah, and he's very well. Even Gunny tries to say something to him when he first report. Oh, he says, "Gunnery Sergeant at Highway reporting for duty, sir," and he just turns around and walks away from him. So because that wasn't the place in his mind to report to him. He had to walk into his office, come up to his desk, do
Yeah.
all that, that formal garbage. When
Does he want to bang on the door sill as well?
yeah, exactly, 3 times. You got to stand
Yeah,
outside, wait to be asked in.
yeah. What the hell?
But they stand at attention at his desk, and he doesn't look at them. He's looking at the orders. But they talk about him being a what, from Annapolis,
Yeah,
the
big time
academy.
football hero.
When am I gonna catch a break? Never. So already, going into it, Gunny kinda knows the type of officer he's dealing with.
Yeah, Which I guess coming back, this is clearly not the same CEO that he must have punched in the face.
No, but I think we'll find out a little bit more about that going forward.
Yeah.
I think it's appropriate the saying that, when Tom Highway asks if he's ever going to catch a break and he says never, considering how our recording has been going today.
No, our recording has been challenging to say the least.
Yeah, we're not catching a break. Never.
Never.
Well, I mean, there's really not much else to talk about. You could kind of tell on not Sergeant Major, on the Major's walls, he's got a lot of pictures of. I think you kind of see. I'm guessing it is like his. It looks like a
Class photos.
football. Yeah, I can't tell like over Sergeant Major Chuzu's right shoulder. Screen left. I think it's like a. It does look like either a graduation, like platoon kind of graduation, or like a football team kind
Yeah.
of. Yeah, it's hard to see because I think it's in black and white too, but who knows? I mean, I could be making all this up. You got anything else from this minute?
No, nothing productive.
Yeah, I think we've kind of spun our wheels as much as we can on this minute where, they just kind of.
I think you're right. I think it is a football picture. Yep, the upper. Yep, and then right next to it is his graduating OCS class. Or it
Nice.
looks like. Yeah, I just blew it up.
Yeah, you can see it. All right, interesting. All right, well, I got nothing else this minute.
No, no, I think we've pretty much beat this one to death.
All right, well, if everybody wants to, join us on Facebook. We have a listeners group, the Marine Corps Movie Minute Quarter Deck, whatever it's called. I don't know what it's called. But if you can, if you want to join us there when we talk about the movie, talk about the Marine Corps, talk about Clint Eastwood, talk about the weather, we'd love to
Yeah,
have you.
yeah, we're pretty friendly folks.
And other than that, let's finish the minute 20 and come back and join us on Friday for minute 21. Don't know how to end this, so I think we'll just call it a day.
Good luck.
All right. I hope you don't feel too much heat.
Never.
Are you with me, dude?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh no.
Oh, can you hear me? Did you lose me? I'm here. I'm here. Yep, I'm here.
I don't hear you again. You there?
Yep, can you hear me? Nope. Fuck. All right. Can you hear me now?
I see you back on. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't. I can hear you.
Shit, I can't hear you.
Fuck. Nothing. Can't hear you.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me? Oh. This fucking sucks. Can you hear me?
Hey, there you are. We're back. I'm leaving it all in. It's going to be make for great podcasting. Yeah, I'm going to have to edit it out. I think we got our blooper though.